Greetings, students. Hi, this is Satyaki Chakraborty from Indraprastha Law College, Greater Noida, and today's subject is Legal and Constitutional History, and the topic of the day is Judicial Reforms of Lord William Bentic. In the last class, we discussed about the judicial reformations brought by Lord Cornwallis himself, and in the previous classes, we discussed about Lord Warren Hastings and the huge dynamic changes brought in the domains of judiciary and administration. And today we'll be discussing about the judicial and the social reforms by Lord William Bentic. So let us first dwell deep into the reformations brought by Lord William Bentic. Firstly, the first reform done was to abolish the provincial courts of appeal and circuit courts altogether. This was done by regulations passed in 1829. In place of the provincial courts of appeal and circuit, the commissioners of revenue and circuit were appointed to do this job. The provincial court of appeal and circuits altogether were considered to be pointless and time consuming, and the regulation being passed in 1829, it was abolished. In its place, provincial courts of appeal and circuit, the commissioners of revenue of circuit were appointed to do this job. By commissioners of revenue and circuit, we tend to mean everything connected to the tax itself. The abolition of provincial court of appeal and circuit reduced the expenditure of the company government too. For this purpose, the Bengal presidency was divided into 20 divisions, and each division was placed under a separate commissioner. प्लीज़ याद रखिएगा उस ज़माने में बंगाल प्रेसिडेंसी comprised of 4 states or 4 places or regions which were present West Bengal, Bihar, Orissa and present Bangladesh. ये 4 जगह को लेके बंगाल प्रेसिडेंसी होता था और बंगाल प्रेसिडेंसी को आफ्टर द एबोलिशन ऑफ प्रोविंशियल कोर्ट ऑफ अपील एंड सर्किट को के बाद इनको 20 डिविजन्स में बांटा गया था और ईच डिवीजन को हर एक कमिश्नर को दिया गया था. Now, each division was being placed under a separate commissioner. For revenue cases, these commissioners worked directly under the Board of Revenue, and for criminal cases, they worked under Southern Nizamat Adalat. So, by Board of Revenue, we mean tax collection, and under Southern Nizamat Adalat, what we tend to mean is the criminal cases. So please remember one thing. So whenever there was any case related to the Board of Revenue or anything related to the civil cases, it came under the category of Board of Revenue. And whenever there was any criminal cases, it came under the category of Southern Nizamat Adalat. For revenue cases, Diwani and the Southern Nizamat Adalat was established for criminal cases at Allahabad particularly. Now, let us see one of the biggest reformations that was brought about by Lord William Bentic in the year 1831. In 1831, another regulation was passed and respectable Indians were appointed as munsifs in Jilla or city courts. Previously, Indians were not allowed to hold any respectable or significant position in the domains of judiciary or administration. But at this juncture, हम लोग ये देखते हैं कि जो respectable Indians होते थे, पढ़े लिखे, who had proper knowledge of law and skilled and educated person were appointed as munsifs in Jilla or city courts. Then in separate regulation, it was also decided that Governor General in Council could appoint respectable Indians to hold the post of Sadar Amin. And Sadar Amins would also hear appeals from the Zilla and City Court. Sadar Amin was now one of the highest judicial Indian authority, and it was being held by a respectable Indian person. To some extent now, India were now to enter the administration, and it was not tangible at that time, but at least it was a ray of hope for the Indians. And when we say so, what we tend to mean is Sadar Amins had all the powers of the judiciary. They could listen to appeals, and it was held as a very respectable position held by a particular Indian, because previously no Indians had held any position in the government, in the administration or the judiciary. But this change was now happening because the Indians, these respectable Indians, at par with the Europeans and the Britons, were holding respectable position in the judiciary and administration too. But still, a bit of a disparity did exist, क्योंकि ये जो सदर अमीन होते थे या फिर मुंसिफ, ये लोग अपने लोगों के ऊपर ही अपील या फिर ट्रायल कर सकते थे. दे डिड नॉट हेल्ड एनी पावर फॉर द यूरोपियंस. अगर कोई यूरोपियंस या फिर ब्रिटेन हो, उसके पास वो पावर नहीं होता था. वो लोग कोई वर्डिक्ट या फिर कोई अपील या ट्रायल नहीं कर सकते थे. तो जो भी पावर इन लोगों को दिया गया था और पोजीशन दिया गया था, ये सिर्फ अपने लोगों के ऊपर ही कर सकते थे. सो दैट इज़ द ओनली डिस्पैरिटी दैट एग्जिस्टेड. बट स्टिल इट वॉज लाइक अ रे ऑफ होप, सिंस Indians were also entering into the better positions in the government itself. So this was a huge change that was brought about by Lord Bentic himself. In 1832, a sort of jury was introduced in Bengal, which was like Indian jury panchayat, that could also help the European judges. Now, these were certain changes being brought about in the judicial and administration field. Now, in the last point that we discussed was the jury system in Bengal Panchayat made possible the use of local knowledge and opinions too. By this, what we tend to mean is, in 1832, a sort of jury was introduced, which was like Indian jury or Panchayat, that could help the European judges. So, this jury system being introduced, it made possible to use the local knowledge, the local skills and the opinions of the local people, and this made the work pretty easy and efficient. Now let us look at the social reforms by Lord William Bentic. आप लोगों को सब पता ही होगा, of course you have all read history. When we talk about Lord William Bentic, he is known for all the social reformations that he has made, that is the eradication of sati and infanticide. Now, Lord William Bentic has served as Governor General of India between 1828 to 1835. His tenure is known for the social reforms such as abolition of sati in 1829, suppression of thuggy and suppression of infanticide, etc. Along with Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he was very much successful in eradicating sati and infanticide and did penalize it as a serious crime and offence. Bentic remained Governor General for 7 years, where he achieved amazing levels of social and economic progress for Indian society. William Bentic objectively worked for legislative, financial and educational reforms while giving less priority to administrative reforms. This thought of dedicated work liberated India from different social evil. So this was the basic difference between Lord William Bentic and the other governors who previously held the position of the governor. Be it Wellesley or be it Warren Hastings or Cornwallis, because the other governors completely worked on the reformations of the administration, government and judiciary. But Lord William Bentic, along with legislative, bringing changes in the domains of legislative, judiciary and the government, did bring considerable changes in the social reformations too, because he was the one, along with Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who successfully eradicated the heinous crimes and practices of sati and infanticide and penalized it as a serious crime and offence. Before that, no governor did bring these serious social reformations. But with the introduction of Lord William Bentic into the system, not only he did introduce Indians to the respectable position of holding significant positions in the government offices too, but at the same point of time did bring certain social changes which were dynamic in nature and which was for the betterment and welfare of the society too. So these were the social and the judicial reforms brought about by Lord William Bentic. Thank you, class.